Welcome to another episode of the 604 Garage. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to continue on with the turbo build. We're going to fabricate our downpipe, we're going to plumb in our wastegate, and we're going to see if we can get everything all tacked together and mocked up before we take it all off the car and we do some finish grinding, finish welding, and try to make it all structurally strong. So let's get going. Okay, well, we finally got some material, and I'm going to try to do everything on the downpipe with this one piece of 3-inch. It's about 5 feet tall or 5 feet long. So let's see if I can make a downpipe. Okay, well, here's the start of the downpipe. I've got a piece of 90-degree tubing that I picked up as well, and I welded that in over here, angled that so it's gonna more or less dump right between the motor there and the frame rail, in front of the floorboard there. Hopefully that's enough clearance from the plug wires. I'll have to do something nifty, like maybe tuck them up like that. Maybe tuck them in like that somehow. And then here's where my wastegate dump is gonna basically plumb in right here. It's gonna look something like that. I'll just have to cut a hole here in this downpipe, and I'll tack it all in together. And then once I do that, I will continue running the piping down underneath the car somehow. I'm not sure how I'm gonna do that, but because I don't really have any more bends, I'll probably have to pie cut something, and then maybe I'll run it out the fender, like I said. I don't know. Or try to hook that into the existing system. So yeah, things are moving along slowly, but here we go. A little bit of progress here. One of the things I think I'm going to do, if I can get my light, I think I'm actually going to change the angle of this right here. Change the angle of this right here. I might actually try to cut this and move this in so it's closer to this pipe right here. The reason because there's my fan wiring down there and it's awfully close, and I'm not sure how that'll survive even if I wrap this piping here. So I'll probably try to angle this in even further. And I switched to 30 thou welding wire, and it is a lot easier to weld with. I don't know why I did that in the first place. So I thought I read somewhere that 25 thou or whatever I'm using was the right diameter for thin gauge piping or 16 gauge piping or tubing like this, but I think 30 thou is a lot better. It just seems to weld a lot nicer. So learning as we go. Okay, and just to see the downpipe from a different angle, here we are looking from the front of the car, and you can see the downpipe actually is pretty much centered between the fender and the cylinder head there. Obviously I could have come a little bit out further to the fender, and I may still do that, but this is actually going to give me a better straight shot down instead of having to curve the pipe from being out here and then snake it back underneath the car and into a bit of an S shape. So this is going to give me the easiest sort of cut. I'll wrap it like I mentioned before. I'll wrap this whole system with exhaust wrap or header wrap, probably the titanium stuff, which is good to like 1800 degrees. And then I'll get those shorter plug wires and probably use some of that plug insulation material around there. I think everything should be happy. Probably in here somewhere is where I'm going to put my wideband O2 sensor. And that reminds me, I've got to find a spot to put O2 sensors before the turbo, just in front of my manifold. So somewhere in that piping just after or in front of the turbo manifolds, I'll have to put in 2 O2 bungs and run my O2 sensors there, one for each bank. Alright, well, here's something interesting. I think my angle grinder is on the fritz. Something's wrong. The gears inside the head are completely shot. So now I'm gonna have to go buy myself a new angle grinder. So I'm curious to see what actually failed here. So let's take this apart. Let's see what's going on. Okay, that's the motor. I'll keep dissecting. Okay, now we've got it all apart, and you can actually see here how the gears are chewed. Badly, actually, and worn way down. So there is barely any teeth here on this gear. And inside, if you can see that, the gear inside, especially the nose of the gear, is worn down as well. So probably could fix it if you really want to. There's a circlip, a retaining clip here, and then you could probably pull this off. But I mean, for 50 bucks or whatever, this has lasted longer than I thought. This has lasted probably 15 years of me cutting crap apart, and you can see here I probably ingested some stuff through the vents in this area here, or the cooling vents, or whatever that is to cool the motor, and it probably pulled in a bunch of material there into basically the grease and everything that is in there to grease the gears. So done. Good thing they are not expensive. And here's the replacement unit, the $50 Skill 4.5-inch angle grinder. So we'll see if this thing can do the job. Buddy, you've got big shoes to fill, so let's see if you can last 15 years like your pal over here. All right, well, we don't have any more 90s or any more mandrel bent pieces, so we're gonna make some here. We're gonna pie cut this. So one of the ways to pie cut this is to do multiple 7.5 degree angles, which when you weld those together will create a 90 or whatever angle you want. So the overall total angle that you'll get from 7.5 on each side will be 15 degrees. So first thing we want to do is draw our center line, and then exactly 180 degrees across from that we want to draw another line. And there's our other line there. Just like so, and then we'll cut this at a 7.5 degree angle. The reason you have the line is because you'll spin it over and you cut it at another 7.5 degree angle, and that'll give you a wedge with overall 15 degrees. 6 of those together makes a 90 degree angle. And you can make it as wide or as narrow as you want, but that'll give you enough pie cuts to weld them into 90 degrees. So let's see if I can actually do that, and lay it out on the bench when it's all done, and let's see what kind of angle it makes. Well, there you have it. Not exactly a perfect 6-piece, 15 degree, 90 degree pie cut elbow, but it's close enough. It's actually one extra piece. I'm using my chop saw, and it's really, really crude. I'm trying to set the angle. There are no real good angles in there, and I've got this little cheapy plastic angle finder thing there. So this is what I ended up with. But as you can see, it is actually making a 90 degree elbow. So I'm going to use that, tack that all up, and I'll put that to use somewhere in the downpipe. Alright, well, we've now got our wastegate welded into the downpipe there. Welding could be a little bit better again, but I'm starting to pick it up a little bit now. You can see I got some good penetration in there. This is a lot better material, a lot thicker material, this new piping, than this used stuff, but hey, working with what we got. The next step then, of course, like I mentioned, is to finish the downpipe with all those pie cuts that you saw me do. That's pretty straightforward. I'm just going to run that straight down. I'm going to exit, I think, behind the front wheel for now, and just have an exit underneath the front fender there. And of course a little piece over on the other side over there which I'll connect. But I think that's pretty much it. I've got my O2 sensor locations sort of spec'd out. And they're going to be right at the collector of the manifold, and they're going to actually end up running up in this area here, and the wiring will run over top of sort of the valve cover just behind the coil pack here, on both sides. I'll show you what that looks like on the other side. Okay, here we are on the other side, and here's my O2 sensor bung, and it's going to sit somewhere in here like this, and my O2 sensor will basically stick up, and then the wiring will run again on this side in behind the coil pack and kind of by the valve cover there. So This piece I got that sort of spec'd out, but I just have to do that modification up in that leg of the crossover there to keep it away from the fan wiring. But anyways, in the end of the day, this is getting close, and it's just a bunch of welding for now. So I'm going to start working on that, yank this off the car, and I got other repair jobs to do in the garage. So as always, thanks for watching, thanks for commenting, subscribing, and liking, and even sharing. And like I always say, guys, the best time of the year to enjoy your project car is all year round. Take care, keep the shiny side up. We'll see you in the next video.